Homework assignment number 5, switch statements. My solution comprises of 3 functions, 2 helper functions and the main function time adder. Number of seconds helper function. This function, starting on line 65, uses a switch statement to determine the time unit divisor in seconds depending upon the time unit labels label 1 and label 2. Largest time unit label helper function. This function, starting on line 81, also uses a switch statement and the modulo operator to return the largest time unit, be it second, minute, hours or days, where the returned value is an integer. The input is based on the total time in seconds. Each block of case statements refers to a time unit, seconds, minutes, hours, etc. The conditions in each case statement are checked and, if true, return the specified value. The time adder function, starting on line 124, takes 4 arguments, 2 sets of values, value 1 and label 1, and value 2 and label 2. Default values have also been applied. From line 126 to 135, the labels label 1 and label 2 are validated to ensure that they are strings. If not, then a console log with the appropriate message is returned and the function is exit. From line 137 to 139, the labels are converted to lowercase to prevent validation errors. From line 141 to 150, the values value 1 and value 2 are validated to ensure that they are of integer type. If not, then a console log with an appropriate message is returned and the function is exit. From line 153 to 171, further validation is performed on the labels label 1 and label 2. On line 154, the const labels is defined, an array containing a list of the plural form of the various time units. On line 155, the const single labels is defined, an array containing a list of the singular form of the various time units. From line 157 to 163, label 1 is validated to ensure that only the singular form of the various time units are input when value 1 has a value of 1. And when the value of value 1 is greater than 1, then only the plural form of the various time units are input. If not, then a console log with an appropriate message is returned and the function is exit. From line 165 to line 171, label 2 is validated to ensure that only the singular form of the various time units are input when value 2 has a value of 1. And when the value of value 2 is greater than 1, then only the plural form of the various time units are input. If not, then a console log with an appropriate message is returned and the function is exit. From line 173 to line 176, the total number of seconds for value is calculated and returned in a console log. Line 174 calls the number of seconds helper function and inputs label 1. This returns the number of seconds that are in the label 1 time unit. Line 175 returns the number of seconds that are in the label 1 time unit multiplied by the value specified in value 1 to calculate the number of seconds for value 1. Line 176 console logs the number of seconds for value 1 label 1 combination. From line 178 to 181, the same actions are performed on value 2 label 2 combination as were performed on value 1 label 1 combination. Lines 183 to 185 calculates the total number of seconds, that is, value 1 plus value 2, and returns the value in a console log on line 185. Line 187 to 189 calculates the total time for the largest time unit where the value is an integer. Line 188 calls the largest time unit label function and inputs the total number of seconds calculated on line 184. This returns the appropriate time unit for label 3. Line 189 calculates the value, that is value 3, for the time unit calculated in line 188. This is done by dividing the total number of seconds by the number of seconds defined for the time unit label 3 by calling number of seconds function and inputting label 3 as the argument.